welcome. Right, this video is about how to use your watercolour pencils that most of you should have had from your craft resource kit that we gave you at the beginning. If you haven't, then I'm sure you can buy similar things on Amazon. Right, so let's get to it. So you need your pencils with your sharpener. Get your A5 sketchbook as well. I'm also going to be using the brushes. Just change the angle of the camera there so you can see what I'm up to. So get your brushes out, get your black ballpoint pen, your white gel pen, that might be quite handy, and a pencil, a pot of water, perhaps some kitchen towel just to kind of wipe your brushes on, and then obviously your pencils. Also, I'm going to show you later on something to do with the tracing paper and the thicker paper that some of you might have had in your kits. This is just the kind of special watercolour paper. Right, so grab your A5 journal, and I just want to give you a few different tips. There's no right or wrong with this. It's just a time of experimenting and seeing how the pencils work, okay? So you can just use them as normal pencil crayons and just colour it, normal colouring in kind of pencils. But the beauty with these is if you add water to them, it just makes it look like you've painted. So begin by just making one plain mark like that, one pencil mark. And then if you could do like a slightly thicker, denser kind of mark like that, that would be fab. And then do the same again below it, and then perhaps get another colour. So I'm going to use a different shade of blue to do another line of colour underneath that lighter blue. But you can use whatever colours you want. All right, now grab one of your brushes, dab it in the water so it's a little bit wet, and then add it to your line on top, your first line, and just see what happens. Look, as you add the water to it, it's like magic. It looks lovely. Look at that. So it's picked up the pigment of the colour on the paper onto your brush. Look at that. That's clever, isn't it? Right, with the next one, again, just having that bigger bit of colour, just have a look and see what you can do with that. I wonder if you can grade it, so perhaps do it, work your way down to make it lighter and lighter and lighter. Can you see that? So the more water you add to it, then the lighter it will become. And then with the one that's got the two colours, you can kind of magically blend them. You can blend the colours together, so that looks quite cool as well. You see that? So again, it's picked up the colour, the pigment on the brush, and then you can use that elsewhere if you want to. Another top tip of what you can do, you could get your kitchen towel, and then if there's too much water, you could also dab it off. You can make different marks with different things like that, which is quite cool. Another thing what you can do with pencils is you could actually dip the pencil straight in your water, just the tip of the pencil, so that it's wet like that, and then you could draw straight on top. So it's basically like a big bold line. So you're effectively kind of painting with your brush as it's wet. That's quite a nice thing to do. Or like Linda's done before when we were doing using these in one of the sessions at the hub. She got her pencil and then got a brush, and she just got the colour from the edge of the pencil, like you would use colour from a palette, and then use that to kind of paint with. So that's another way that you can use these pencils. So just have a little play. Like I say, there's no right or wrong with this. Just have a little experiment. I'm just wondering if I can get it to flick. I think if you had enough water on there, I think you could do lovely little like flicky marks like that. That's quite cool, isn't it? There's quite a few videos on YouTube and Pinterest of other top tips of what you can do with similar kind of pencils. So have a little look at those, maybe have a little research. Just to show you kind of thing that we've been doing is Ellie and myself have been playing around with these. Ellie's my 10-year-old daughter. She did these pictures the other day. She used the blue to do a wave and then waited for it to dry, and then she got her black ballpoint pen and she wrote over the top of it and wrote some words into it. So there's that one, and then she's done a lovely rainbow there with some words and just use the black pen. I've done similar things like that before. I'll show you in a couple of other sketchbooks I've had. I like journaling, I like doodling. I like just putting colour on paper and then adding words to it, just to help kind of process how I'm feeling, but also just as a way of kind of doodling and just playing around really. I like that kind of style. This is, you can see where I've used the white with that as well, and the white gel pen just makes it highlights areas. So these figures kind of dancing, I did those with the pens, then the watercolour pens, then I added the water over the top to make it a little bit more washed out, and then I went back afterwards and used the black to highlight, and then also the white as well, adding in various kind of words. So there's that one there. There's the feathers, they're quite cool. Obviously I haven't done any writing over the top there, that's just kind of the colour. These are like droplets, again just adding colour, adding words, and then there's that one as well. We like using rainbow kind of colours, but you don't have to. You could use just one spectrum of colour if you want to. So there's a few different ideas. The other thing I wanted to show you with using the tracing paper, you could, if you're not very confident about doing a particular image, you could find an image that you like. For example, there's this bird in this book, and then I've traced it with a tracing paper and a pencil, and then I've turned it over and traced it on the back, so that you've got the graphite on both sides of the paper. Then I got the thicker paper from the kit, and then I went over the top to put the image onto the paper. So once we had our pencil outline, I then used the pencil crayons to add the colour, and then I added the brush as well over the top, just to kind of show you how you can kind of paint with it. So that's another thing you can do. Have a little play, have a little experiment. I'd love to see what you get up to. Remember, there's no right or wrong with this. There's no right or way of doing this. It's just a matter of playing, experimenting, and then just enjoying your mark making. Sometimes it's not always about the end result. Sometimes it's just about that process of just kind of doing something different. And hopefully this will be relaxing to you. Okay, there's no one's going to judge what you've done. By all means, you don't have to share what you've done if you don't want to, but sometimes people like to be inspired by what other people are doing. So yeah, please feedback. It would be great to see what you've got up to.